Imagine a world where Superman fails to save the woman he loves. Lois Lane drowns in the Indian Ocean, her last breath lost beneath the Kryptonian world engine's crushing depths. One tragedy, one missed rescue, unleashes a chain reaction that transforms not just Superman, but the fate of the entire DC universe. What if Lois Lane died in Man of Steel? In the original Man of Steel, the climactic battle against Zod's forces sees Lois Lane plummeting into the Indian Ocean, trapped within the escape pod after failing to stop Zod's plan. In canon, Superman races to her rescue, pulling her free from the capsule as oxygen runs out. Gasping for air, Lois is saved, Superman's relief palpable, and together, they continue their fight against Krypton's last survivors. Superman's victory is as much about hope as it is about power, his love fueling his humanity. But what if Superman arrives only seconds too late? In this divergent timeline, as he claws at the smoldering wreckage, Lois slips beneath the waves, her final heartbeat marking a world-altering tragedy. This, her death in the Indian Ocean during Zod's attack, is our pivotal butterfly moment. This instant matters because Lois is Superman's anchor to humanity, his moral compass in a world that fears his power. In the DCEU, Lois grounds Clark Kent, giving him purpose and hope. Take her away, and everything changes. The fate of Metropolis, Batman's distrust, even the rise of Darkseid, all are shaped by Lois's survival. Removing her severs Superman's last tie to the world he vows to protect. In this alternate timeline, fate is brutally unforgiving. Superman, exhausted from battle, arrives a heartbeat too late. The escape pod's glass is shattered, bubbles churn upward, but Lois is unresponsive, her struggle over. The Man of Steel lifts her lifeless body from the sea, his scream echoing across a battered metropolis. Shockwaves of grief ripple through the survivors. Perry White, Martha Kent, and the world at large mourn the loss of their greatest reporter. Superman experiences overwhelming rage and heartbreak, drowning in guilt. Humanity, watching from the shadows, witnesses a god broken by loss. Even Zod registers hollow triumph, realizing he has destroyed not only a planet's hope, but its hero's heart. The immediate aftermath is catastrophic. Superman retreats from the world, abandoning the city's ruins. Zod's defeat feels hollow, Superman's blows more brutal, devoid of restraint. The Daily Planet loses its brightest star, while the public sees Superman as a force barely containing his pain and anger. No rooftop sunrise reunion. No comfort, just isolation. Superman's psyche fractures. What was once hope has curdled into bitterness. His Clark Kent persona begins to fade. Perry and Martha watch helplessly as Clark drifts from his roots. For the first time, Superman questions whether humanity is worth saving. Without Lois as a voice of reason, Superman's public image darkens. Zod's death is not a moment of tragic necessity, but a savage execution. General Swanwick and the military question if Superman is just another threat. Batman, watching from Gotham, interprets the Kryptonians' loss not as tragedy but as a prelude to tyranny. Seeds of mistrust are sown earlier, more violently. Superman becomes increasingly unstable, haunted by guilt and rage. Instead of clinging to humanity, he drifts closer to the godlike detachment the world fears. Batman adopts a policy of preemptive aggression, seeing Superman's pain as proof that absolute power is dangerous. Lex Luthor, ever the opportunist, weaponizes Lois's death in public discourse. If even a god can't protect those he loves, how can we trust him with Earth itself? Friendships erode in the fallout. Clark and his mother Martha argue. She pleads for his return to the farm, but he is too troubled. The Justice League never forms as a family, but as a desperate alliance tainted by suspicion. There is no great love story. Lois's absence is a permanent void in Superman's life, fueling distance instead of unity. Authority figures, military, world leaders, even Amanda Waller, grow more aggressive in their containment strategies. Superman's rage suppresses his compassion, and political powers begin to regard him as a ticking time bomb. Lex Luthor's rhetoric finds fertile ground. Earth prepares contingency plans, and the arms race against Superman begins years earlier than in canon. A darker Superman creates new threats and opportunities. Villains like Lex Luthor and Amanda Waller exploit public fear to advance their anti-metahuman agendas. Parademons and apocalypse forces sense Earth's growing instability, and Darkseid takes notice, drawn not by hope, but by the scent of despair. Superman's transformation is stark. He's colder, Isolated, no longer the beacon of hope, but an avenger focused on punishment. Batman, burdened by paranoia, upgrades his arsenal earlier. The calfskin gloves are off. Lex Luthor rises as a necessary evil, painting himself as humanity's defender against an unchecked god. Metropolis never truly recovers, haunted by collective grief and Superman's absence. The global balance teeters into a metahuman arms race. Gotham hunkers down, bracing for a conflict between two titans. Amanda Waller's Task Force X is founded sooner and given more resources, prioritizing Kryptonian countermeasures. The Superman-Batman conflict is ignited not by manipulated evidence, but by open public actions. Batman labels Superman a fallen angel. Their fight is not postponed, but explosive, visceral, and, without Lois to intervene, potentially lethal. Lex orchestrates further tragedies, exploiting fear rather than orchestrating doomsday. The world's critical crisis arrives much earlier. Leveraging advanced Kryptonian tech, tries to neutralize Superman, nearly triggering World War III. Without Lois's investigative prowess, Lex's schemes are unchecked. No one exposes his xenophobia. Meanwhile, Darkseid sees Earth's greatest champion diminished and sends Steppenwolf on a full-scale invasion. This Earth is vulnerable. Batman must decide, risk killing Superman in a preemptive strike, or try against all odds to save Clark's humanity. Superman faces his own crossroads, succumb to vengeance, or find a new anchor to hope. Lex gambles everything on a world without Superman, inviting catastrophe with every move. The climactic confrontation comes not from Doomsday but a war on two fronts. Superman and Batman fight on the ruins of Metropolis, while parademons descend from the sky. No one to say Martha. No Lois to plead for mercy. The battle is relentless, driven by loss rather than hope. A city set ablaze, a league never born as comrades, but convened as soldiers in a last stand. Without Lois, Superman nearly kills Batman. Only the arrival of Wonder Woman, acting as a mediator, prevents mutual destruction. The Justice League forms not as friends, but as battlefield survivors. Superman, forever changed, is a symbol of warning. His legend a cautionary tale of what the world loses when hope dies. Years later, the DCEU is a grim place. Superman rules with stoic detachment, maintaining order but never inspiring unity. Batman has become more militant, Gotham less hopeful. The Justice League exists but without the warmth of camaraderie. Lex Luthor's influence persists, and Darkseid's shadow looms closer than ever. Superman stands alone atop the world, powerful but broken, his Clark Kent mask all but gone. Batman is fearless but haunted. Wonder Woman becomes a reluctant peacekeeper. Lex Luthor is imprisoned, yet his anti-Superman narrative endures. Lois Lane's absence is the wound that never heals. Earth is a fortress but also a target. Kryptonian technology is pursued by every nation. Darkseid arrives sooner, knowing this Earth is divided, its champions divided, and easier to pick off. The dream of a united world fades, replaced by cold alliances and grim vigilance. The price? A world protected by a distant god, but lacking real hope. The Justice League is a shield, never a symbol. Lois Lane's sacrifice is mourned by those who know. Her life was the thread that held Superman, and perhaps the world, together. Is this timeline better or worse? Superman's unchecked grief means Earth's greatest hope becomes its greatest caution. The League exists, barely. The world is safe, but joyless. Heroism turns cold. Without Lois, the human heart of the DC universe withers. This alternate timeline reveals just how essential Lois is to Superman's identity and to the DCEU's balance between power and compassion. It reminds us that one life can shape a god, and that even Superman is only as strong as the love he holds. One unrescued heartbeat leads to Superman's psychological collapse, escalates global paranoia, hastens Darkseid's invasion, and forever alters the League's foundation. The loss of hope begets a world of fear, and a hero who is less than human. In canon, Lois's survival preserves the heart of the story, showing that even in devastation, hope endures. It's this hope, not just raw strength, that defines true heroism. The original timeline may have its flaws, but it wisely keeps the beating heart at Superman's side. How fragile is the balance between hope and despair in a hero's journey? Could you see Superman surviving such a tragedy, or is Lois truly his last link to humanity? Ultimately, a world without Lois Lane is a world without Superman's unmistakable light. The legend remains, but the hero's soul doesn't survive the storm. Lois's life, one moment, is the linchpin for the fate of the entire DCEU. One choice, one heartbeat, infinite consequences. The DCEU is never the same, when hope drowns beneath the waves. What if Zod survived and formed an uneasy alliance with Batman against a broken Superman? Subscribe for our next deep dive into DC's darkest timelines.